Okay, Fort Curtis. Okay, so the last question. Okay, what role should the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation play moving forward? Should it operate independently or as a delegated arm of the council?
Oh goodness, the way to word this. I think it needs to have oversight by city council. I'll just come out and say, I'm not going to try to mince words. It needs to have some sort of oversight by city council, because at the end of the day, city council is responsible for where the taxpayers' money is going towards, and the AEDC is using those taxpayer monies. So the role that it needs to play moving forward, first and foremost, the systems and processes need to be revamped, redone. It needs to be overhauled. There's no getting around it. And the goals and the quantitative and qualitative measures need to be more laid out. You can't blame, I'll say I like Kevin as a person, but when you have the goals that you have, it is what it is, right? So the goals need to be where we're looking at as to what's creating actual economic growth to increase our tax base. Right? It's not just creating 3,000 jobs, it's creating X amount of jobs that are coming from a different part of the country that's increasing our tax base to ease the burden on all these people sitting out here as well. So that way we're not constantly going back to them saying, yeah, we're building this, but it's all on you now, okay? It could be on the 1,000 people that this company brings from a different part of the country. That's real economic growth. I could go on and on about the AEDC. I've got a master's in finance and economics. Just at the end of the day, the AEDC needs to be part of the city council. There needs to be that oversight. It needs to be rehauled. And quite frankly, it needs to be done for the people of Amarillo, not for the few that have been using it for their personal gain in the past.
Timmery, please. I think the AEDC is an essential part of what we do as a city. We can go back and rehash 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 20 years, and we can find things that they did right and things they did wrong. And that's with any of us. Because we're all human and nobody does everything right. And people do things wrong. So transparency is going to be a big thing. And however the AEDC continues to exist. But I think it's an essential part of the business arm of what we do for the city. So one of the questions I'm going to ask is, what do we expect from the AEDC? I think that's where you have to start. And then we work from there. There has to be some controls over them. I think when they were chartered, they operated as a separate entity. And maybe that's something that we bring back and we make sure that there's just a little bit of oversight for the city, as opposed to free reign. But those are things that are easy to talk about, and getting the right people in the room and have that discussion, because it is you that the AEDC represents and the council represents. And so we can't just do those things in a bubble. We have to go out to the public. We have to ask the citizens of Amarillo, what do they want? What are their expectations of the AEDC and whatever follows from there? Thank you.
Patrick Miller, place one. I think it was mentioned earlier that Amarillo has a DOGE-like committee. Well, on the federal level, this DOGE committee eliminated essential funding for Catholic charities of the Texas Panhandle. It eliminated essential funding for Sport and Mile community development. It eliminated essential funding for Pentex. I don't know about you, but I don't want a DC-based solution for Amarillo problems. In terms of the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation, we need to remember that a Type A Economic Development Corporation operates in a way that promotes manufacturing, industrial jobs, and can serve as a headquarters for corporate, regional, or national headquarters. Moving forward, the City Council that is elected on May 3rd and begins operating on May 13th needs to choose from a qualified list of candidates to serve on the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation Board.
Okay, Don Tibbs, place 2. So, EDC obviously has been a hot topic lately, as we all know. My opinion is, and no, it's not necessarily goes with everybody, and there's one of them that definitely disagrees with me, but right now I think it's needed in order for us to compete with other cities, whether you like it or you don't like it. From this council that you've seen, we've changed the way the incentives have been given. We're not big on tax abatement, giving over the income of the city to an organization. We've been very creative in that. So to answer your question, I would say I think that it needs to be independent, but with council oversight, which is very much what it is now. We exercised that oversight during this term. It wasn't liked a whole lot, but what we found is the policies were pretty loose over there. It wasn't anybody's fault, but it was just run very loose. What we did is we did a new certificate formation and new bylaws and policies to tighten that thing up. We are about to appoint a new board. I will tell you, I'm pretty unique in the fact that I'm sitting on the board right now temporarily. So I get a unique look at what's going on here. So everybody from the outside can cast stones. We're going to tell you when you're sitting in there, you know what it's like. So, but we welcome you in. You're in the public meetings. We have some that you'll show up. But what I would say is, with oversight of the council, I think that I think Tim's point is, that is those are taxpayer dollars, and it needs oversight. And then it always come to council, and that's what we need to exercise that oversight. I'll make this comment also. The police, we are still a few short in the number of officers, but we've had one of the largest academies because we didn't pass those raises. We have one of the largest academies. We are attracting people to fill those positions.
David Prescott for place 3. I think that the EDC plays Amarillo EDC plays a critical role in the city. 100% for an independent group. Why? Why for an independent group? There's 700 EDCs in the state of Texas. If I'm looking to move talent in my company to Decatur or Tyler, and Tyler offers me $200,000 to go there, and Decatur offers me $100,000, and neither location is critical. Which one would you take as a better business person? You're going to take the Tyler location and save $200,000. If there are 700 EDCs in the state of Texas fighting for the same companies, we have to be competitive. We have to. Because we keep saying over and over that we need economic growth, we need businesses to come here for better jobs, and we need to be business focused and business centric. Are there problems with the AEDC? Yeah, there's problems. Were the guardrails loose? Clearly they were loose. I mean, at what point do we need to realign the goals? And what does a win look like? And how do we reestablish trust? That's what we've lost in this issue. We've lost trust. But it doesn't mean that they were doing a bad job. We just don't feel or see if it was going in the right direction. Look at models that are successful. If we have 700 EDCs throughout the state of Texas, who's knocking it out of the park? How did Abilene, a very, very similar city to Amarillo, get a $500 billion AI complex? How does Lubbock continue to grow? How does Oklahoma City continue to grow? How does Colorado Springs to the north continue to grow? We have to look at these models that are successful and revamp on the ones that are winners and mimic them for us to continue to operate in Amarillo.
So first and foremost, any entity using our taxes needs oversight from the council. First and foremost, we have to have that oversight. Now, EDC is a very crucial point. It is a marketing arm for our community. We need to actually establish attainable goals for that growth. actually established. We need to have a more frequent and established way of using those metrics to show our community, show the community, where the community can actually see and understand what is our success rate. That's one thing that, when it comes to entities like this, you have to have that, you have to be able to show what you sold. Right now, it's very hard to do. Yes, the previous EDC was very loose, but hearing a lot of what was said before, yeah, we can revamp that, revitalize that, but we have to set up a structure for that now, and then actually hold that group accountable for any kind of leniency or going beyond those borders. Jenny Perez on place 3.
Thank you. Tom Sherman, running for place 3. My definite opinion is that the AEDC should fall under the control of the city council. I don't care who you are, if you're getting tax money, you need to have oversight. As an ex-CEO of a large company, I know good and well when we were growing, I didn't necessarily go and find the place that had the best deal. I knew where I was going to go. I knew where I was going to move. I knew I wanted to set up in Houston or San Antonio. And then I went to the AEDC to see if what they were willing to give. Because anything they're going to give is going to hit my bottom line. So, in reality, we've got to learn to sell Amarillo. Amarillo is at the crossroads of this nation. We are a north and south highway, we're an east and west highway. We have rail traffic, we have truck traffic. Amarillo will sell itself, but we've got to sell it. I don't care what you do in life, you're selling yourself, you're selling an entity, you're selling something. But I think we need to learn how to sell. And that's the main thing. Amarillo's got a lot to offer. And we don't need to sit down there and get in a bidding war with Abilene or Lubbock. I mean, if you want to look at Lubbock, they're in debt for $1.5 billion. Do you want $1.5 billion debt? I don't. I mean, just think what that does to your taxes. Thank you, Tom Sherman, place 3.
Les Simpson, running for City Council Place 4. Really, if you look at the last several months, you've seen City Council has had oversight of the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. We don't run the day-to-day, but people have questions, and those questions have been asked, and the systems are already being put in place through the direction and working with the AEDC. This includes new budget restraints. It gives better direction on how the money is spent and when it's to come to the council for spending. Also, we have new articles of incorporation and bylaws which are much more specific on how to run the operation. But really the most important thing that the council does is we appoint a board of directors to oversee the day-to-day operations of the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. And when we are looking at the next board members that we appoint, the city council must make sure that we appoint board members who know that our expectation is the highest level of integrity when dealing with taxpayer money. I think that's where things got lost in sight, forgetting where this money comes from, and even if it just appears to be bad. This is why people don't trust government with money. They forget about what it looks like, and we need to make sure that the people that this council puts in place to run the board of directors realizes that they have that high level of integrity, that they earn trust, and the city council must make sure that that's the expectation of every board member that goes in there, that's running the day-to-day, and it needs to be the expectation of the executive director that they hire. If we don't have people that are that, then they don't need to be serving on the board, or they don't need to be the executive director of the Amarillo Economic Development Corporation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I want to say and express that as someone who has run for public office, it takes a lot You have to be willing to lay yourself out there for everybody to see, and they're, one way or the other, they're gonna find out which way you chew gum. So it is very, a very challenging thing, and I think that everybody up here needs to be commended for running and throwing your hat in the ring. And I, as a citizen, I appreciate you very much for what you've done. And thank you very much.